Of the Work the Crowd podcast. I am Douglas Harden. As always, I'm here with Jacob Klukas. Today, we're going to talk about the college football playoff. We're going to start with some comments on the structure, probably in the future, and we'll discuss the first round, talk about all that stuff. We're going to talk about the Browns and how they're handling Shador and what they should do probably going forward. And then finally, YouTube golf is a big thing. It's growing significantly, especially with the Internet Invitational. And what would be better than LeGoat James maybe going to YouTube golf? Question mark. So before we get started, Lucas, you doing all right?
I am doing great. Not so great just because we're going to get into it, this college football playoff structure, because it could have been so much better of a day yesterday if the structure was just right. Like,
Yeah.
so here's
So
my
let's just
thing.
jump. Yeah, let's just jump into
Yeah,
it.
let's jump right into it.
'Cause it
So
seems like you have a lot to say about this.
here's my thing. I originally was all for allowing a group of 5 team into the playoff because it's just part of the story, but and let's backtrack. We cheered originally for the 2 group of 5s when the playoffs came out just for the chaos part of it, of just
Sure.
not allowing somebody else in. Somebody else was going to get kicked out because of this, the way this is set up.
Because of Duke.
Yeah. And so from the chaos standpoint, this was phenomenal. It did everything we wanted it to. But from the pure football standpoint, this sucks.
Yep.
Now, listen, I'm not so sure just yet if I'm on the let's just kick the group of 5 out completely. Because I do think there is still value there for them to be at least have one advocate there. But that's it. But at the same time, I'm also with guys like Nick Saban and all that. Like we can't have the best possible playoff with a group of 5 team in there. It just can't happen. You're not putting the 12 best teams in the country into the playoffs. And that's what we want. And here's the thing, for college basketball, all that, with the upsets and everything, that works for basketball because upsets like that happen in basketball more often than football.
Yep.
There's a reason why the moments of like Appalachian State beating Michigan, are so that they're so monumental when it happens because it doesn't ever happen. In football compared to basketball, group of 5 schools that play these Power 5 schools, I'll go 8 times out of 10 get obliterated because of the talent gap. And we're seeing that live in the playoff. Boise State put up a fight last year, but the difference between Boise State and these teams where Boise State was ranked up there to be in there last year. Tulane and James Madison had no business being in the playoff. No disrespect to them. They had no business being there. We left out way too many good teams and possibly good matchups. Now, am I going to sit here and say that if we take Tulane out and take James Madison out, that the quality of the games get better? No, maybe not necessarily, but you have a better chance of it being better. I'm not guaranteeing you by putting Notre Dame in or by putting Vanderbilt in or by putting Texas in. If I put, is the likelihood of them being better games are higher, but am I guaranteeing that, who's to say Oregon still doesn't blow out Texas or Ole Miss doesn't blow out Vanderbilt still? Like, there's no, because that's going to be what happens if they changed it, let's just say, to something like that, like let's just say next year, and that happens, where something like that happens, then we're going to have the argument of, well, then why did we change the format? What was the point?
Yeah.
But again, I think if you're talking best quality football and you want to you got to put the 12 best teams in there. And I think we have to get rid of the model that we have now. We got to get rid of conference championships. To me, they're already, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, they almost literally mean nothing now. So let's take away conference like you got to be a conference champion to make it. Who cares? It doesn't matter, because obviously it didn't matter for Duke because Duke won and didn't make it. So let's throw that criteria out the window. I want to put the 12 best teams in. That's just what I want. I don't care if you're a conference champion. I don't care. I want to, let's go by your let's go strictly your resume. Let's go off everything. Because if you do it that way, now you're going, all right, now your strength of schedule matters. So now if you don't have a good strength of schedule in your conference, you're going to have to schedule somebody in your non-conference.
Yeah.
To make up for it. All right. For a school like Notre Dame, they're independent. So they can schedule whoever, but it's going to make them have to go schedule tougher teams. They're going to have to go play games. And again, part of that's going to have to be, are you blowing out the schools you should be blowing out? Are you beating the teams you should be beating? Are in those moments, if you do lose, did you get blown out in that game? Did you at least make it was it as good of a game as we were supposed to be? You got to take all this into a factor. All right. And so I think the criteria that we should be going off of, and this is the criteria I've been going off of when I put out my rankings all year, is we got to go off your strength of record. All right. We're going to include the college football FPI in the AP and college football playoff ranking. We're going to take that into a factor. All right. We're going to take your strength of schedule into a factor. Throughout the course of the year, we're going to take your remaining strength of schedule into a factor, because at the beginning of the year, a school like, let's just say Ohio State, let's just say they play Rutgers. Well, if Rutgers has a good year, that's going to up your remaining strength of schedule. I'm not going to, because at the beginning of the year of your strength of schedule, Rutgers wasn't expected to be good. I'm not going to dog you for the rest of the year because they are good now. Remaining strength of schedule has got to go in. The game close, are you beating the shit out of the teams you should be beating? And what is the margin of victory in the other games? The average win percent against other teams. So the stat of, if other top 25 teams had your same schedule, what is the the likelihood of them winning? And then I think you do have to put some kind of eye test to it, because again, we go back to the Notre Dame Miami debate. That game happened in August.
Right.
Notre Dame is a completely different team today than they were in August.
So was Miami.
Right. And so, and for better or for worse, however you want to look at it, they were two different teams. Because if we were just going off that, Miami off that Notre Dame game looked like the clear-cut best team in the country. Notre Dame looked like it was going to be a down year for them. Now we flip-flop and we go to the end of the year. Miami is still a pretty good football team. And Notre Dame looked like arguably one of the top 9-8 teams in the country. So you have to have some kind of eye test to it. So I went through the way I had been doing it all year, Doug. And I said, okay, if we take this model and we took the 12 best teams possible. Now, I'm sorry, because one of the teams you mentioned when we talked about this last night is not in here. Strictly because I didn't put a 3-loss team in the playoff, because I don't feel like you should be there. So if we took the 12 best teams in the country, this is what I think it would look like. You would have had Indiana still 1, Georgia or Ohio State still 2, Georgia at 3. I think Oregon would have slid till 4. You would have had Texas A&M at 5, Texas Tech at 6, Ole Miss 7, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Miami 10, Vanderbilt 11, and BYU at 12. I get it. BYU, the two times they played Texas Tech, they got obliterated. One of those was a conference championship, so we're taking conference championships out. They got obliterated by Texas Tech, who's in the playoff. BYU had a good resume to be there. Still. Now, for the Texas of the world, again, eye test, you got to take all that into a factor. They look like a much better team, but at the end of the day, I'm not rewarding Alabama and Texas for being 3 lost teams to get into the playoffs.
Fair enough.
And so this is what I think the playoff would have been. Now, again, do I think based off these matchups, we would have had any different outcome as far as not having a blowout? Probably not. But Ole Miss Miami would have been a hell of a game. I think realistically, I think Texas A&M and BYU, that's like on the fence of it could either be a blowout A&M or it could be a really good game.
Yeah.
But Texas Tech, I think, would have blown the doors off Vanderbilt. But the others, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, would have been a great game. 2 hard-hitting football teams. And then Ole Miss, Miami, great game. And then it arguably sets up better matchups in the second round.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the 3-loss thing. The Alabama one is still tricky, though, because it was a conference championship loss.
Okay, so fair. So, I mean, you could throw Alabama.
I would throw Alabama in at 12 over BYU. Especially fair. With the eye test. If
we're going off eye test, Alabama's eye test screws them at the end of the year.
Yeah, but it does a little bit. But I think still BYU, though, losing like that to Texas Tech twice, I think that still hurts them.
I think the only thing that would have saved Alabama in that scenario where if we take conference championship, okay, BYU gets blown out twice by Texas Tech. Alabama beat Georgia at Georgia in the regular season, lost to Georgia in the conference championship. We just voided out.
Yeah, I mean, I would still arguably say that beating Georgia.
But I can argue, but like this is where I think next year they're going to 16 teams.
Okay, well, so that was going to lead me to my next question was if you do this, you have to go. Well, I guess it's not really a question. It's more my opinion. You have to go to 16 teams because then you still actually can get a chance for a non-Power 5 school to make it. And if you have the 16 teams instead of 12. So I do think they eventually go this route and they treat it more just like a regular March Madness type of feel bracket. So, yeah, 100%. I wrote that down as a note when you were talking. I was like, we have to go to 16 teams if you're going to do just purely the best 16 teams in the country.
Because I can argue right now, like if we did, if like just off eye test alone, I think right now if we put them on the football field, Texas beats Alabama.
Oh, really?
Like if you're doing like you're like if you're debating that last 12 spot and you're going to put a 3-loss team in, like I could argue right now, like if we were in a boardroom talking about the college football playoff, I'd be like, I think right now, I think Texas would beat Alabama.
I mean, yeah, Arch was finding his way. Texas defense was solid all year, really.
And then Texas beat Vanderbilt, who's on this, who's on this list. But
we would have saw a lot more star power and talent in the playoff if you go 16, and I think it makes it way more exciting. And again, what was James Madison ranked at the end?
So the hold on.
So I think Tulane was like 22 or something like that after their conference championship. I think James Madison was like 16 or 17.
So in the final rankings, Tulane was 20, James Madison was 24.
Oh, it's the opposite maybe. Okay. So, I mean, again, I guess neither one of those teams make it, but I think it's what. So what was the 13 through 15 or through
So,
16?
well, 11 through because 11 didn't make it. So the top 10 made it. The top 10 was Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami.
Okay.
So 11 through 20 minus Tulane because Tulane was 20 that didn't make it was Notre Dame, BYU, Texas, Vanderbilt, Utah, USC, Arizona, Michigan, and Virginia.
Yeah, I mean,
So if
Utah
you
was a good
to,
team. I mean, it was like we could have seen some pretty good games.
So if you go 16 based off this year and still include Tulane and James Madison based off their criteria, then you would have added 4 more teams. So you would have added Notre Dame, BYU, Texas, and Vanderbilt. So,
yeah, and Notre Dame is capable of an upset. Texas is capable of an upset. I mean, who knows how Pavia plays? I mean, Vanderbilt could do that too. So it's like it makes it way more exciting. I think if you go, you would have to go 16 teams if you did purely the best teams.
And I'm gonna even if you go to 16, you got to go best 16. If the group
you
of
can't
5
do no
falls in that
Power
16,
5, non-Power 5 stuff.
Listen, if the group of 5 falls in that 16, then more power to them. But then they deserve to be there. But if they don't, then they got to go.
They don't. Yeah, just purely simple. And that kind of brings us to something like another, I don't know, idea that I had. What if you kind of did a almost if you're gonna do it like March Madness? What if you did kind of like a NIT type thing? I don't know how, like, they would. I don't know how they could format. I guess it would just be kind of like the playoff, but less teams. And you had like Tulane, James Madison. You could put Duke in there. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and then that's how you make the other bowls mean something, maybe.
Right. That I was kind of getting to that too.
So you kind of just travel to each bowl site. If you let them have a home game in the first round, like the playoff, and then move to the Pop-Tart Bowl, the Music City Bowl, just float around to the other bowl games.
Yeah, something like that. You got to make it mean something. Nobody cares about the bowl games anymore, man. They just don't. These players, if they're going to NFL, they're not going to play because there's always that chance you get hurt.
But in that scenario with an NIT, they're probably not going to play either.
I know. You'd have to have some sort of incentive to the tournament if you wanted to do something like that. Because I still think, Tulane and James Madison were good teams. They're just not, like you're saying, the talent is just not there. Like the NIL money's not there. The program is not there. And it's just not fair to them. So let's do their own tournament. Do their own thing. Almost like a D2 type playoff thing. I don't know. Just non-Power 5 school tournament? Could we do something like that?
Well, and so here's another thing that kind of ruins it a little bit. And we've talked about this. The college football schedule, okay, in terms of when we start, when the portal opens, when recruiting starts, when coaches can start taking jobs, all this. So, I'm not a big fan of Coach Jason Brown. Not a fan of him at all. But he did have a tweet yesterday that I do agree with. And it was, Tulane has a coach who can't wait to get started at Florida. Ole Miss head coach left 3 weeks ago. James Madison's guy can't wait to get to UCLA. Meanwhile, A&M's offensive coordinator has his mind in Kansas State. The portal opens, early signee periods happen, all while Michigan still doesn't have a head coach. NCAA's a joke.
I mean, yeah, I get his point.
Like, so we get back to this. You gotta. listen, you got to change the period to. I understand, like you got to push recruiting and transfer portal window back. You got to early signing period. Everything's got to go back with the playoff. It's got to everything. All that has to happen after we get through the playoff, and maybe the easy fix. I mean, it's not necessarily easy that I've seen is people are saying push the college football window up 1 week instead of when week
Week
zero
zero.
happens, it should be week 1.
Yep.
And then why did we have such a long period? Like, why did we have the week off from the conference championship to the playoffs? Just go push that forward. You played your conference. If you played in the conference championship, oh well. Guess if you won, you may have had to buy the next round anyway, so you're not playing the next week anyway. Get the playoffs started the week after, and you could have had all these games done essentially where the championship is going to be played like January 1st on New Year's Day.
Yeah, because we waited a month since some of these teams had a month off.
Yeah,
so like 3 weeks.
Push everything forward. Let's get everything through. First of all, let's get rid of this third bye week that teams have in the course of the season. They don't need it. 2 bye weeks has been fine for college football for years.
Right.
So get rid of the third bye week. First of all, and also week 0, since we implemented this, 3-4 years ago, the dumbest thing ever. There's not a good game on ever week 0. All right. Who cares? Yeah. I do not care to watch week 0 of college football to watch ITT Technical Institute play Memphis. Okay. Don't care. All right. Don't care. Get rid of week 0. Start off week 1. Push everything forward a week, and then let's get started. All right. And then get through and then push everything back. Let's just say if you get the championship game played on New Year's Day, let's just say portal, early signing period, everything starts. Let's just go. So like this year, if we go January 1st, let's just say January 12th, which is essentially a week and a half after the championship game. That's when the portal opens. That's when early signing period can be. And that's when you also got to make this a rule if you're the NCAA. If you decide you want to fire your coach, that's on you. But you can't hire a coach until January 12th.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what you should do? I think you should write this down and lay it out. And let's post it and let's get some people's opinions.
It's just.
I agree with you.
Here's my thing. If we've always made this argument, why we've been so pro player movement is because if a coach can just leave a job in the middle of the night and go somewhere else, why can't a player?
Yeah.
So it's got to be the same stipulation with the portal. If the portal doesn't open till a certain time, then guess what? You can't sign to a new job till a certain time.
Seems fair.
So if my kids can't jump into the portal to go to another school till January 12th, then guess what? You can't interview. You can't do anything until January 12th.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the Lane Kiffin situation was just, the icing on the cake for the scheduling stuff. So they really need to change that. Yeah. I mean, so let's actually talk about.
Let's talk about that though for just a second. The Lane Kiffin. You know how very suspicious it was for me. Tulane was up Ole Miss was up 27-3 at halftime on Tulane.
So yeah, something like that.
I found it very suspicious that the report going into the locker room. Now, granted, they came back out and played, so it ended up not being anything. I found it very suspicious that going into halftime, Trinidad Chambliss and Keywan Lacey, the quarterback and running back for Ole Miss, went into the locker room hurt in that game. Now, they came back out and played, but I was like, when I seen that, I was like,
Did you see
Lane
the play
Kiffin may had his hand in that, hey, go out there, get a big lead and then just sit out.
Did you see Trinidad actually hit his head on the ground. They had to put him in concussion protocol, right? But I wanted to get back. So I just did a quick Google search on the week 0 thing, So you're like, why do we really have that? So it was basically for TV primetime uh, spot for teams that don't get that very often. Um,
Yeah.
to get
Who
it before
cares?
Labor Day.
Who cares?
Yeah. So did you know there was a Hawaii rule?
Uh, I've heard it before.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know this, but there's some different key reasons for week 0. So the Hawaii rule: teams playing an away game in Hawaii get an extra home game to help cover significant travel expenses. And this home game often falls in week 0. International games, special waivers allow games played overseas, like in Dublin, to count as week 0 games, offering unique experiences and exposure, which was where
But okay, but see, if you ever
whoever
listen,
played.
I'm sorry. I don't care about college football games being played in Dublin.
Right. This is why they have week 0 now, though.
Like, it's cool when pro football does that. They're professionals. They go overseas. They play. College football is not meant to go overseas.
No, NFL did it. It's cool, but college football.
NFL does it. The NBA does it when they go to Mexico and and stuff like that. It's fine. The professionals, they can. This is not made for college kids. All right, this is not made for college football. Play your college football games at your school or on a neutral site if you're going to play. Get rid of week 0. I'm sorry, because I don't care about the kid if you're going to play Hawaii. I'm sorry. It's part of it. Like, what about the kids that have to go, like in the Big Ten, for instance? What about the kids that have to go from Columbus, Ohio to New Jersey to go play Rutgers, and then the next week have to go cross country to go play at UCLA, and then have to come back and play at Columbus, back to Wisconsin? I don't care. Like, week 0 means absolutely nothing. And all it's done is just added confusion with, like what we've posted before with we play a conference game that's not a conference game. What?
Yeah, that was dumb. You talking about NC State and
you're playing, NC State, Virginia.
Or Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, and then like last year it was Kansas State, Arizona. Why? Why am I watching a non-conference conference game?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
So
they're in your conference. It's a conference game.
Who cares?
Yeah. Apparently, there's a new rule too now. This is for FCS. It says a new 2026 allows all FCS teams to play in week 0, coinciding with their ability to play 12-game schedules. So now they're doing week 0 for FCS teams too.
I don't care.
Yeah. Again, this goes back to the NCAA is a joke, right? I mean, they need to have a commissioner. We've talked about this plenty of times. Go ahead and just appoint Nick Saban as the guy who's going to run college football, and he'll just fix it for us. He's already done a bunch for college football for us already at Bama. Let him go ahead and just fix the rest of it.
Like, why am I having to coddling to FCS schools?
All part of
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about the FCS schools. I don't care about you having to make a trip to Hawaii. I just don't. I don't care about college football being played in Dublin. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about now the actual first round games that we had over the weekend.
Started off
for the actual playoff. I know we went on a rant this whole time.
Started off with a banger.
Yeah, very good game.
Right off the bat, we started off with a banger. Well, actually, sorry. Friday night was still a banger because Alabama coming back on Oklahoma. That was a good game. And it just boiled down to essentially the problem Oklahoma has had all year, which I don't understand, because Ben Arbuncle is a good offensive coordinator. John Mateer is a good quarterback. And they have players on offense. So I'm not understanding the Now, get it. Mateer, maybe he just doesn't feel comfortable ever since the hand injury at the beginning of the year. And it just hasn't been the same. He came back probably way too quick. And it just hasn't been the same. But I'm not understanding Oklahoma's struggles on offense. I just don't get it. Now, Alabama, I still thought, even with Oklahoma's struggles on offense, that the defense was so good, and they are, but defense was so good, and Alabama had been playing like so bad in the last 3 games. And I thought Oklahoma would be able to walk out and steal a win. And it sure looked like that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then here came Alabama. And Alabama managed to get a big win, which one of the, that's, if Notre Dame this weekend was looking for a we should have been in, they lost it completely. With Alabama winning and then Miami winning, they lost that argument.
Yeah, they'll just go back to the non-Power 5 stuff. But yes.
But then we got a banger to start the day yesterday. A 10-3 banger.
Which I just want to mention, that game should have never been a noon game.
No. That should have been the 8:00 game.
That should have been the prime time. Put the damn non-Power 5 schools at 12 and 3:30.
Yeah. Why now I get it, maybe because Oregon's in the West Coast. We ended the day in Oregon. But
okay,
I get that, but it should have been, even if you want to go by like where we're playing, it should have been Ole Miss Tulane at 12.
Yep.
Then we go Oregon James Madison at that 3:30 4 o'clock spot, and then we go A&M Miami as the night game.
Yeah.
And honestly, because it's college football, people still probably watched a lot on Friday. We honestly could have pushed Oregon James Madison to Friday night and moved Bama Oklahoma to the Saturday slate. But I understand you put one of the big games on in a Friday night. They're ABC, the only game. ESPN. So I understand it. I'm not arguing that.
It's
but,
this is all TV. All TV.
But yes, we got a banger, a 10-3 banger. Miami A&M and Miami gets a win.
Both defenses were insane.
Insane.
And we knew both of those defenses were really good. But to have a 0-0 game in Miami
0-0 at halftime. Miami finally got a field goal in the third.
Yeah. That's insane. Whoever banged the under was doing pretty good.
And then we were proceeded with the remaining games. A 41-10 Ole Miss win over Tulane, which we all saw happening. And then a 51-34. Now, a lot of that is Oregon backed off in the second half.
Yeah.
But 51-34, Oregon got a win over James Madison last night. So.
Yeah, and, again, we're not going to touch on it, but we've already talked about the non-Power 5 stuff. And this goes to show that they probably shouldn't have been in. But these, Miami, offensively, they can run the ball. That's for sure. Carson Beck, I almost didn't think they trusted him. They got so late in some of these games they've lost, and he throws a pick. And what did they do this time? They just handed the ball off. They did not give Carson Beck a chance to ruin the game for them. And he made a couple plays that they needed going down the stretch. But, their running back had 100, I think it was 180 yards.
Yeah, Fletcher. Yeah.
On the ground. So if their defense keeps playing like that, it will be, they'll be a tough team to beat. But the problem is who do they play now?
Well, now that you get into these tougher games,
Ohio State, right? So you're going to go against a team that can score points.
You're going to have to throw the ball.
And also has good defense. Yeah, you're going to have to throw the ball and push the ball downfield to be able to score with them. And I don't think Miami can hang with that with using Carson Beck. So, but yes, it was a great Texas A&M Miami, fantastic game. Marcel Reed showed some flaws.
For sure. So now that sets up the first matchup. We just talked about Miami, Ohio State, and we all know these two have a history, and I cannot wait. I have been, for those of you that have been a fan and following Work the Crowd for a while, you all remember Matthew Spencer. I have been waiting for this day to come. I have been waiting for the day that Miami and Ohio State get to match back up. And so as of right now, Miami, Ohio State opens up as 10-point favorites over Miami.
Yeah, with the over-under being 41.5.
Yep. And so I cannot wait for that game. Now, the second game, because that game is that game is on New Year's Eve. It's the only game on New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Day, you have the other three. So the other three, you have Texas Tech, Oregon, which this game can be very, very interesting. That game, Oregon actually opens up as 1.5-point favorites. And I don't know. I think Texas Tech has the edge here. To me.
Yeah. The only thing that I think hurts Texas Tech is they've been sitting for a long time.
Yep.
And they were hot going to the end of the season. And I think momentum can stop, and Oregon just they basically got a tune-up game before they played Texas Tech.
And sorry, I will say, so the Miami Ohio State game is at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. So there's that. The Oregon Texas Tech game is at the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Yeah. I think the spread's right. I think this game comes down to a field goal.
Yeah, I'm not arguing the actual spread, but I don't know. I think Texas Tech can get a.
We'll see if they keep them. If they keep the momentum up, yeah, they're going to score points. So
all right, then the Rose Bowl, or what people will call the Crimson Bowl in this one, Alabama, Indiana, in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. I don't know if listen, maybe this is, I won't call Alabama Ohio State last year. But again, we talk about these teams sitting. Has Alabama found a groove now coming off against a good Oklahoma defense? Were they able to find a little rhythm where Ty Simpson looked pretty good? You can,
I don't know.
I mean,
Indiana's defense
I think
really
the issue with Alabama is going to be they cannot run the football.
They cannot run the football, and they won't be able to against Indiana's defensive line. So I think when you control the line of scrimmage like Indiana does, I think that's who ultimately wins the game. So I think Alabama runs into a roadblock here.
And then in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, we get a good old SEC matchup. Georgia, Ole Miss, where these two teams had a banger of a game earlier this year where the Dogs came out 43-35 winners. And I'm not going to lie, I expect this to be another good game.
Yeah.
I think the Dogs do pull it out, but this is another scenario where, Ole Miss is riding on momentum of not having Kiffin. Everybody's motivated. You let them have a tune-up game before playing Georgia. How well does Georgia play coming off so long of not playing? But I do expect Georgia. I expect Kirby Smart to have them ready.
I trust Kirby Smart to have the guys ready. Yeah, it looked like I'm going on the Ole Miss thing without Kiffin. Booger McFarland was doing the halftime stuff during that game, and he said it. I think he said it right. They played with a ton of emotion, and you can't play a whole football game with that much emotion at once. And that's why once I think they settled in and the emotion set aside, that's when they separated and started to blow out Tulane. So I think the emotion's gone from the Kiffin side. Now this is going to be battle of, I think maybe the play callers here. Who calls a better game?
And yeah, in that scenario, we boil down. I think
To Kirby Smart. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's, for me, through the 4 games, I think it's going to be Ohio State beats Miami. I don't know. I'm going to ride with Texas Tech over Oregon. Indiana over Alabama, and then Georgia over Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Georgia over Ole Miss. I'm gonna go Indiana over Alabama, and I've liked Texas Tech all year too. I think if you get Oregon that damn tune-up game, I think I go Oregon slightly by a field goal in that matchup. I don't remember what I picked before, but right
It's
now
fine. We have new information allows you to have new opinions, Doug.
Whatever. I like to stay loyal.
But yeah, and then you're rolling with Ohio State over Miami.
Oh, yes, I do think ultimately Ohio State's going to score points. I will say though, Miami's defense looked phenomenal against Texas A&M, who scored a decent amount of points all year. As long as Julian Sayin has a good game and you feed the studs, as a Will Stein would say, with Jeremiah Smith and Bo Lamar Jackson,
I think that you're going to see this game against Miami is going to be very similar to the Texas game at the beginning of the year. I think you're going to see.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think maybe not so much in terms of like the score, but in terms of the way they play. They're going to slow down the game. They're going to run the ball. They're going to force time of possession onto Miami, which is ultimately going to lead to you're going to have to make throws.
Throw the ball.
Yeah. You're basically, I think Ryan Day against Miami may just be like, listen, defense, this game is in your hands. And
yeah, the game plan should be make Carson Beck throw the ball. That should be the game plan. That's how you win. You get turnovers, and you're gonna win the game. So that's what I'm doing. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm gonna come up with a scheme that makes Carson Beck throw the ball. But now, basically, what you're saying is controlling the game by running the ball.
And I think if you are Ryan Day, I think a game that you look at, if you want to look at an offensive game plan, is I'm going back to earlier this year, and I'm looking at, all right, and you're gonna like this one, Doug. I'm gonna go back to that Louisville Miami game, and I'm gonna go, all right, Louisville did a really good job at getting the ball to Chris Bell, who had 9 catches, 136, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
So what can we do, obviously, with having Jeremiah Smith to have a similar outcome against this Miami defense?
I will say you take what the defense gives you. Miami's going to have a good defensive scheme regardless of what's going to happen. But I think you make it easy on Julian Sayin and
yeah, everything's got to be simple.
Yeah, just get Jeremiah Smith the ball. Let him make plays after catch, and that's what they did with Chris Bell.
Because that's
a lot of short routes, slant routes, get across the middle, and let him do what he does.
The Miami defense is good. The downside to Miami's defense is this secondary.
Yeah, and
the front seven very good, but it's just going to be.
And Concepcion had a great game against them.
Do what? Sorry,
Concepcion against Texas A&M. He had a great game. So
I think where the pass defense for Miami is beneficial was the pass rushers, Ruben Bain and the front seven. So if you can protect, if you can protect and keep them away, I think Sayin can have a field day against Miami.
His job won't have to be hard. That's what I'm saying. If you just do these short slant routes across the middle to Jeremiah Smith and Tate, just let them eat. He just throws the ball to them and let them run after the catch. Get the ball out quick, run the ball to keep the defense, to keep the defense on their toes. and take a shot every once in a while,
And
right?
again, much like Louisville did that game, because Carson Beck threw 4 picks, you force Carson Beck to have to throw the ball.
Yeah, you know, Louisville went up 14-0 real early, and you can't just run the ball the whole time. So if I'm Ohio State, I want to strike first. Let's get them on their heels as quick as possible. And I think this game could open up. But Carson Beck's gonna make a mistake. It's what the guy does.
It's inevitable with him.
So you just gotta if they can put pressure on him and they control the line of scrimmage, they might be a blowout, to be completely honest.
So, but all right. That's our takes on the college football playoffs. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Browns' handling of Shedeur Sanders. All right. So there was always a stigma around, and I tend to not believe this ever, that a coach will purposely sabotage a player, because at the end of the day, if I'm going out of my way to sabotage a player, I'm intentionally sabotaging myself, essentially. Because if I'm sabotaging you to play bad, that means we're playing bad. That means we're not winning. So by sabotaging you, I'm sabotaging myself.
Yeah.
So I tend to not, ever believe, a coach is intentionally sabotaging a player, which was always kind of the stigma around Stefanski with Shedeur. During the preseason, it was Shedeur never got to run with the ones. He always has to run with the 3s and the 4s, and that's why he looks bad. And okay, that's part of the deal, but okay, whatever. Now I have an issue where I'm kind of going, all right, maybe there is a little self-sabotage in there. Doug, do you know what happened last week during the Browns and 49ers game?
Are you talking about with Jerry Jeudy?
No.
No? Okay, no. Then no.
No. Shedeur, and I want to hold on. It was the 49ers game, right? Last week. Let's just double check. Sorry, no. The Bears game. The Browns and Bears. Sorry. I don't know why I was thinking 49ers. In Chicago in the cold. Do you want to know what happened, Doug? Which you've played football before. You could probably tell me that this arguably never happens ever. Shedeur Sanders went out there the first 2 possessions of the Browns' offensive drives with the wrong wristband.
Like for the plays?
Yes.
Oh no, that never happens.
And it wasn't a Shedeur just grabbed the wrong wristband, because and Chad Johnson and Shannon Sharp and all of them, they explain this. The wristband is done, complete, and given to the quarterback by Friday.
Makes sense. Yeah, you have a set plays you're gonna run.
So Shedeur has the wristband that they were given.
Oh man.
Allegedly, Stefanski made changes to the plays on the wristband like Saturday night, and that wristband never made its way to Shedeur Sanders. So
yeah, sounds a little.
I have a question. I have 2 questions actually. One, what are you doing changing plays at the last second? 2, why would I, as a head coach, even if I just go, well, I gave it to the offensive coordinator is supposed to give it to the QB coach is supposed to give it to the fuck that. If I decide at the last second I want to make changes to the play sheet, I would make sure, as a head coach, I'm going to make sure I'm personally responsible to make sure my quarterback has that wristband.
Yeah, agreed. Especially last minute like that.
This can't be on Shedeur. So why in the hell, in what world do you send your quarterback out there with the wrong play sheet?
Well, yeah. So also, I mean, how early do they get to these stadiums?
You
to
leave
do
Friday.
pregame stuff. No, I'm saying to do even day of. How early are you getting these kids?
Because you still have to go, like, even before the game, when you let your player go through warmups, you still have that last second. Okay, let's do a quick run through. Are you good with this? Are you
like in the locker room? You have to be meeting with your quarterback, your starting quarterback, the most important position in football, to be like, all right, hey, here's what we got for play calling. You have any ideas? I made changes last night. Did you have everything you need? Like that's very simple
Or even
leadership.
if you're just hey, I changed a couple things on the play sheet. Here it is. Let me know if you have an issue, if you have if you understand, if you don't understand, you know, and I just think it's very ironic that you do that coming off a game against the Titans, which the Browns lost, but where Shador looked phenomenal. Shador in that game against the Titans, 364 passing, 3 touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and
Now
he
the
threw
next week,
3 picks against the Bears because he didn't know where the fuck anybody was going.
yeah, because he's probably looking at his sheet and he goes, "Why? Judy's supposed to run a slant route. Why is he running an out route?"
Now, and granted, the Bears are good.
Yes,
But yeah,
but
yes, it
and
would help if you had the right
I'm
plays.
not saying that exact what I just said exactly happened, but it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
something simple like
Just
that where I'm looking
right.
at a play sheet and I'm going, okay, this is an option attack. On this option, he's supposed to cut, he's supposed to slant. Why did he curl? So I I'm never gonna say a coach will self-sabotage somebody, but something like that makes me have to reconsider it because it's like, why doesn't he what is going on that because here's the thing, you can look at quarterbacks and how they, and regardless of the system or whatever, and you can just look at him and kind of go, he's just not it. All right. I'm sorry. We watched Dylan Gabriel play earlier this year. He's just not it. He is your prototypical long-term backup quarterback. He's there if you absolutely need it. Clearly.
Yep.
With Shador, I'm not saying he's a guaranteed starter, but I've seen flashes. I've seen the flash where I go, all right, if
There's something there.
if we could just if we go into next, if you can go into next year, get a lineman in the draft, get him another receiver, I think you could have something. And it seems like every time that there's that moment where you go, wow, maybe the Browns did it. They figured it out. It's like the Browns find a way to brown themselves. Like, hey, I don't understand it. Shador, and it's not, and here's the thing. If this was like a team wide, like the team had an issue with him, the team loves Shador. They want him to play. You see, when they played the Raiders a couple weeks ago and Shador was out there making throws, there's Myles Garrett on the sideline going, oh my God, what a throw. Like, the team is rallying behind Shador. Why is the coaching staff not rallying behind him? That's what I want to know. That's what I truly want to know. I just don't understand. And they play the Bills today in Cleveland, and I can't imagine that's going to look any better than what the Bears game looked last week. But it's like, why? I don't understand why the Browns will just continue to be the Browns, essentially.
Well, and if I know is this is a rumor, right? With the wristband thing, kind of. Obviously, they're not going to come out and say it's like that actually happened. But if that actually did, and I'm a
Oh no,
GM,
Stefanski said it happened.
Oh, okay. Well, then if I'm
They asked him in the interview, they said, did Shador have the wrong wristband? And he said, yeah, we got it fixed. We got it fixed pretty quickly.
So if I'm the GM, I mean, I'm looking at that seriously. Like, are you competent enough to run this football team?
If I'm the owner, I'm coming down and going, what just happened?
Yeah, 100%. If that's the actual case, yeah, I'm like, do we need to make changes? Yeah, I mean, obviously they do because they suck. But I mean, right there, that's gonna be Exhibit A if they fire.
There's no way your starting quarterback doesn't have the right wristband. No. There's just no way.
That's a lack of preparation in my book, from all coaching staff. And Shador is still new, and he's trusting the coaching staff to help him. and clearly they're not. So, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely suspicious.
That's a scenario where that's not on Shador. He's given a wristband on Friday. Now, granted, I'm taking that information based off what guys like Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson that played in the league at a high level will tell you. You're given your play sheet by Friday. If you make changes and you don't get it, that's not on you. That's on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it. I don't get what is Stefanski's problem with Shador Sanders at this point, because that's got to be the ultimate. Like, I really just want you to fail.
It's big middle finger to the face for sure.
So,
I don't know. Well, hopefully, I like Shador. I think he really could have a bright future. He just needs to be in the right system.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, if the Browns truly, if they want to go take a high draft pick this year and draft, a Mendoza or Dante Moore from Oregon, if you want, then trade Shador.
Yeah.
Please send him somewhere where a team will use him.
Yeah, like Indy.
Okay, I'll take it. All right, and now we're gonna wrap it up with a little fun topic here, Doug. Could we see the King, LeGoat, LeBron James, after basketball, come to YouTube golf?
Golf has grown a ton since COVID, and the YouTube side of it is only, I think we've only scratched the surface of how big this is going to get. Here's my scenario I see happening or could happen. Bronny's already dipped his toes into the YouTube side with doing a video with Grant Horvat. LeBron's already interacting with these guys on Twitter. He's also mentioned them in an interview after an NBA game. LeBron's almost done. We know he's only got 1 or 2 more years left. And Bronny's future in the NBA is really looking dim, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not sure after LeBron leaves what's going to happen to Bronny, but he's going to go play in the G League most likely somewhere. Could we see a father-son LeBron and Bronny YouTube channel, YouTube golf channel? That would be absolute gold content. Who in God's name, if you like sports, is not watching that?
Yep. And then real quick, just backtracking a little bit. Those who don't know, LeBron this week was tweeting about watching YouTube golf, specifically watching Grant Horvat, Wesley Bryan, George Bryan, mentioned Brad Dahlke and Sean Walsh. And then in the interview after the Jazz game, when they asked him about, I think they were asking him about one of the Jazz players, and he was like, I don't really watch. He's like, the only thing I watch nowadays is YouTube golf.
Yeah, he is one of us. See, you know what? He is a normal guy.
And so it's, it just makes me spark the question of, well, first, what sparked this question, and we can go ahead and do this here as well. Who gets him first as a guest? Is it going to be Good?
I think Good gets him first.
Is it Grant, since he's already had Bronny? Is it Bob Does Sports? Is it, Brian Bros Golf?
I do think eventually he'll have something to do with the Internet Invitational.
I don't know, because Portnoy is so anti LeBron. I don't know if he'd ever give him the invite.
Buddy, if LeBron James wants to sponsor your tournament, now this thing's going to get too big for Portnoy to control, I think, is the problem.
I understand.
And he's going to have other donors be like, we want LeBron James.
Portnoy is so into his ways that I don't know if he would.
LeBron is one of the most powerful people on the planet.
Listen, I'm with you.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying Portnoy would be absolutely stupid to not let LeBron in. And why is he so against LeBron? I don't understand that.
I don't know. I don't know. Part of
is it just like basketball?
I do think part of it is that the fact that Portnoy is a Celtics fan, and
okay, well, you know what? If LeBron's involved in YouTube golf, the man's retired from basketball. This is going to be like Brady all over again, where how many people like Brady now that he's not playing football. LeBron is going to be loved by everybody after he retires. All the haters will turn into people who like LeBron. I'm telling you. And especially if he's like, you give the man credit. He's a great dad. As much as he does everything he can for his kids. And you know how cool it would be to do a father-son YouTube channel, LeBron James and Bronny. That'd be. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
just it's insane. I would say Good gets him first though. If he wants to go, if he eventually wants to try doing the YouTube thing, I think Good gets him. I think he's amazed about Brad Dahlke, and I think LeBron's greatness for other things is
so
going to be driven more.
Portnoy's hate for LeBron is pretty much Celtics driven. He has called LeBron a total bum, called him a failure in the NBA. Said that he ruined the Lakers franchise. They added one of the greatest losers in NBA history. He has pointed to Bronny being a Make-A-Wish kid because of being in the NBA because of his father.
Make-A-Wish is rough, but
he also attacked LeBron for when LeBron went at Stephen A. Smith last year.
Portnoy doesn't have kids. That clearly shows.
And his exact words earlier this year when Portnoy was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe, his exact quote was, "I fucking hate LeBron. I hate his guts."
I mean, dude, LeBron's living rent free in his head. Sounds like.
And it also probably doesn't help with the whole not only Celtics thing, but that LeBron's from Ohio. LeBron's an advocate for Ohio State.
Oh, I'm sure. The Portnoy's just hating. It is what it is. But
I'm just saying, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. LeBron is such a huge entity that it'd be almost, but Portnoy is so stuck in his ways that I bet you if they were like, even with Big Cat and everybody in his ear, like, dude, this would be huge if he was a part of this. It would still be a Portnoy going, no, fuck no.
I honestly, I want to see it happen just because it would be talked about, the fact that he would deny LeBron, and it would be such a power move if he tried to do that. But I think eventually this thing gets too big for Portnoy to control, because it was huge just in year one. And if LeBron wants anything to do with it, LeBron's going to get what he wants, I think, ultimately.
But going back to the original question, I know you said good. I agree with you to an extent, but I'm going to tend to lead Grant Horvat only because I think Horvat pulls off a Mickelson Horvat versus Bronny and LeBron with strokes type.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe something like that. Or if Horvat would just, it's a more one-on-one.
Or maybe he just goes, all right, I'm gonna go 1v2, Bronny and LeBron versus
like that. Yeah.
Me. Yeah. But I think his connection with Bronny and already doing a video with Bronny kind of gives him a leg up a little.
I will say, look, and we've already mentioned a few times that YouTube golf is huge. LeBron's going to want something to do outside of when he retires from basketball. He sees how big this is already, and LeBron's a business guy. He understands money. You don't get this far and become a billionaire without knowing something. I know he has managers and people that do shit for him, but he gets it. And attaching his name to something like that is only going to grow it infinitely. So
true.
I see if this is something he really wants to do. I mean, it seems like he's golfing more. He probably enjoys it. There's a reason Jordan did it too.
Especially now, like all his buddies, like even like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's in it.
Kevin Hart, Chris Paul. I think he golfs.
I think you could see if you go the good route, the way that they do, because they're good is kind of different from good and Bob Does Sports are kind of similar in terms of like the style they do. Now Bob Does Sports is more or less serious versus
which LeBron's not good. So like he would fit in.
Oh, an episode with LeBron and Bob Does Sports would be phenomenal.
Just pure, yeah.
But if you go back to like if Good were to do it, I think you could see obviously strokes would be thrown in there as well to be able to use, but good versus the NBA. And it's LeBron, Bronny, Chris Paul, whoever else versus good in like a series type thing.
Well, Steph's going to retire here soon too.
Oh, and Steph's already done stuff with good.
So he's done stuff
So
with everybody, I think, except Bob Does Sports.
Or maybe it's just a pro athlete versus good, and you get like Steph, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, LeBron.
Or I didn't even think about this. What if we get LeBron on a break 50 with Bryson?
Probably could.
I think that's likely too.
That or every year when they do the match, like where we saw like Tom Brady in there with them on the match that they do on TNT and all that, you could see LeBron do something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of excited. I think that would be really cool for LeBron to get into something like that. And you can tell, like, yeah, obviously he's getting older, but I mean, he's a professional athlete still right now. He's going to have a lot of years left to be able to golf. I mean, he can golf till he's 70.
Yeah, you can golf forever.
Forever. I mean, really, if you're in shape. And LeBron's had the best,
Whoa.
workout and diet regimen since he was 18, 17 years old. So I'm going to say he could stay in shape for quite a while. But yeah, I think this would be pretty cool to experience if LeBron decides to do something like that.
And I think that's going to be not just LeBron, like we talked about Steph too. This is going to be something that a lot of pro athletes will probably get into as they start to retire.
Yeah, golf's one of those things. It's the hard to me. I've played a lot of sports. Golf's the hardest sport you'll ever play. Because it's only you against you, and it's so technical and so tedious. I mean, even the professionals get the shanks. It's like it's the mastery of it that probably never happens. I think that's why Jordan was such a fan of golf, and he liked to gamble. But yeah, that I 100% agree. There's a lot of baseball players that play golf, hockey players. I mean, yeah, you name it. There's a professional athlete that plays golf. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So interesting things that could be happening.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode. If you guys liked it, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.